everyone. Thanks for tuning in to my worst date ever story. Now, I'm sure this won't be like the worst dating story you've ever heard. At least I hope not. No, actually, it's not even that bad. But for me, this was my worst dating story. A few months back, a guy and I were talking, and he invited me to go to sushi. And I had never been to the sushi place. I'm not really a fan of sushi, but I was like, whatever, I'll try it again. And before I leave, he phones me and he's like, we both have a car, and he's like, hey, do you mind just picking me up? Because then we can just take one car. And I was like, no. In my head, I'm thinking, he's a friggin' stranger. Why would I pick a stranger up in my car and then drive to a sushi place? Anyways, so I just said no, like I think it's best if we meet separately because that's like safest. And he's like, oh, okay. Like he was really bummed out that I wouldn't drive him. And I was like, this is weird. And then I pull into the place and there's this guy standing against his, I'm going to guess 85 Cavalier. And he's standing like this, this is my car. Like really like he's proud of it. And it's like green and blue, the door is green and the rest of the car is blue. Anyway, not important. He just looked like a tool. Anyways, and then I pretend not to look at him because I was like, oh crap, what if that's him? And he phones me and he's like, oh hey, I'm here. And I was just like, oh really, where are you? Like pretending not to like notice him. And then he's like, oh, over here. And he waves and I see him waving. I'm just like, oh, there you are. Great. Anyways, then we walk into the restaurant and we're seated and like we start talking, whatever, and I think I was asking him questions like where's he from, what does his family do, and he like every answer that he would give me would be a put down to himself. Like it seemed like he didn't really think much of himself. Like he'd give me answers like, oh, like my family owns like a little shop and like we're not very rich and we're not very like blah blah blah. Like he was just putting himself down and it was annoying. And then it's like a buffet type sushi, like they bring the food to you. And I didn't know this because I've never been there before, but everything that you order, you have to pay for. Like if you don't finish it, you're charged for it. It's weird. Anyway, I won't be going there again. And so I would order something, and I didn't know if I would like it, so I was just like, whatever. And if I didn't eat it all, he'd be like, oh, well, you have to finish that. I'm just like, what? Like, I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. And he was like, he got really pissed because I wasn't finishing my sushi. And then, like, we would get dessert, and by the way, desserts at sushi places suck because it's basically green tea ice cream, which I'm sorry, but that's so disgusting. Anyways, and then we got the green tea ice cream, and I didn't like it, and he loved his, but I was like, I won't finish it, and he, again, would be like, finish your ice cream. I'm just like, no, I don't like it, so I'm not going to eat it. And he would just be like, well, he'd be like, oh, I can't believe you're not finishing it. I'm just thinking in my head, like, oh my god, like, what the F? I don't think you're allowed to swear on YouTube. Anyways, and then the bill finally comes, and it's like $60 for the two of us, which is, I think, is kind of expensive for like a place like that. Like, it wasn't even that good, but where I live, like the city where I live, that's like where you go for sushi. I don't know, I didn't like it. Anyways, so the bill's $60, and he pulls out his wallet, and he's like, oh, I only brought, like $15 with me. Do you mind getting your share? And I was just like, getting my share? Well, half of 60 is 30, and you only have 15, so I basically ended up paying for him. and he left like a $5 tip. And I was like, oh. And we get outside, and like as we're walking out the door, I text my friend, and I'm like, hey, can you call me with an emergency? And so she calls me, and she's like, hey, this is your emergency. And I'm like, oh my God, Ollie, that's my dog. I was like, Ollie's coughing up blood? And she's like, what the F on the phone? But I was like, I had to think of something that would get me out of the situation. And he looks at me and he goes like, come on, like your dog's coughing up blood. And I said to him, like, did you really think this was going well? And yeah, I basically just leave it at that. And I just cannot believe that I had to pay for him. Like I'm a very strong feminist, but I believe that guys should pay all the time on a first date, no matter who asks whom. But he still asked me to go, so he really should have paid. Um, and I paid for him, and I was like, that's so lame. Like, he was such a bad person to go out on a date with, so he should at least paid for mine because I had to endure his company. And um, so since we kind of like left it on an awkward note, he emailed me a week later, and he was like, I thought that was really lame of you to make up that excuse about your dog. And I said to him, I'm like, I thought that was really lame that you made me pay for yourself and myself, even though you asked me to go out on a date. And I don't like you. I think you're a creep. And he basically like got really mad at me, but I was like, whatever. Like, I don't have to see your face again. He was really weird. But it was weird because he was like actually really cute. And then when I looked back at his photo, I thought, oh, he's too pretty. Like he looked kind of like an angel. Like he looked really like angelic. Like he had like blonde hair. He was very white. Like, but he looked really nice, like attractive. Of course, I don't think of him as that way now because he's a jerk off. But I mean, I could see why women would go out with him. Yeah, so overall, awkward, lame, cheap, rude little boy. Sorry, little man. Yeah, so that was like my worst date ever story. Thanks for watching. Bye.